Right guys, so about 1 year ago, I made my second video on the channel actually, not my first one, my second video on my LG C2 42-inch OLED. I bought that TV to use it as my monitor. Now it was a bit of a risky and crazy decision to make because 42 inches for a monitor is absolutely ridiculous. Like the majority of people would not want that whatsoever, far too big, would just never do that. But there was a couple of reasons why I went for the 42-inch LG C2. Firstly, I wanted an OLED monitor, and in the beginning of 2023, there was like two options to go for. There was the LG C2, the 42-inch model, or you had the 27-inch Ultra Gear monitor. At the time, the Ultra Gear one was significantly more expensive, low resolution, had issues with pixel fringing, and on the whole wasn't the best decision, so personally I decided to go for the LG C2. Firstly, because it had a higher resolution, and the reason I got this was pretty much entirely to do video editing and production work, and then on the side play some games. And also I got this one because I got a good deal at the time. Now, the retail price of this TV when it first came out was about £1,200, but I got it for around £750 at the beginning of April last year. Now I've used this TV for thousands of hours now, using it on PS5, using it with my MacBook, and hooking it up to my Apple TV with my double HomePod setup to get the ultimate sound system for my desk, and over the past year it's just been perfect for literally everything. For my PlayStation 5 for example, although I don't have one anymore because I got a PC and a new monitor and a whole different setup for that, when I had my PlayStation 5 at the time, this TV was about as good as you can get for a PS5. It's 4K, 120Hz, less than 1 millisecond response time with an OLED panel. It literally ticks every box that you could want for a PS5, or an Xbox Series X for that matter. And overall it was just a brilliant experience. Would I have preferred it if it was maybe a little bit smaller, maybe 38 inches or 32 inches? Definitely, and there's some more options coming on the market now for a 4K high refresh panel at a lower size. There's definitely more options, especially the new Asus 32-inch 4K monitors, but at the time and still today, this is one of the best value screens if you're looking to get into an OLED monitor. Now let me know down below if you've ever seen an OLED screen before, or if you've got an OLED, if you've got any sort of OLED TV. If you haven't seen one, essentially it's just the pinnacle of display technology right now. Near enough perfect contrast, incredible colours, great HDR support, ultra low response time. There's not really any technology out right now that is better than OLED. In fact, I've got a t-shirt for that, bear with me 1 second. Look at this, absolute perfection. Anyway, we're getting distracted. What I'm trying to say is if you're trying to get into the OLED market and get yourself and upgrade your monitor setup and get one of those premium screens, there's not really anything better than OLED right now. And because there's more OLED products coming onto the market, the monitors such as the LG C2 from last year are coming lower and lower in price. Now I'll put a few links down below if you do want to pick up an LG C2 or any of the OLED panels. I'll link a few of my favourites down below. But if you want the best all-round OLED panel, you can't really get better than the 42-inch because it's still incredibly good for gaming. It's not got the ridiculously high refresh rate like the 240Hz, 360Hz. It is capped at 120Hz. However, for gaming, console gaming especially, you don't need more than that. And you're not compromising on resolution, you've got a 4K panel, colours are absolutely brilliant, but like I've said, whether you're running games on a PS5, a Series X, a PC even, because you've got 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, you can make the most out of that 4K 120Hz, and playing games on this is so immersive and generally one of the nicest experiences you're going to get. Even though it does take a little bit of time to get used to the bigger screen size at first, you definitely get used to it. And because it is a 4K panel as well, it's incredibly good for productivity. So whether that be graphic design, photography, video editing, any sort of productivity work that requires you to have a better quality screen, right now there's not really a better option than OLED. And the one thing I like about my TV that I got is that the legs on it are so narrow and so compact that you can just push it right back to the wall on your desk, and actually it takes less room up on your desk than it would do if you had like a 27-inch monitor and you have the two stands and the 2 feet coming out the side. This leaves you with so much more space on your desk without having to wall mount or having to use desk arms. It's just an all-round great solution. Now in terms of using this for productivity, I haven't really hooked up a PC to this. I have experimented with it, but I use my MacBook on this all the time. My MacBook, I've only got HDMI 2.0 port on it, so I can't actually use 4K 120, I'm stuck at 4K 60Hz, but it still looks amazing. And I've edited every single video for this channel on this TV, and it never gets boring. The amount of space you've got to use on this screen, because it's such a big screen, you've essentially got the space to have a quad 21-inch monitors all on one screen. You get so much more surface area. However, for someone like me, I've got really bad eyesight, so I sort of just scale up a 27-inch monitor, and everything's just much bigger and easy to see without having to have really large text on a small monitor. And that's kind of how I like to have it. But for everyone else with good eyesight, you can actually just lower the scale down and it'll be so much more smaller, but you can fit so much more on there as well. So it's great for multitasking. Now, it's not all perfect. Now, there's a couple of issues. Thankfully on this TV there's no problem with pixel fringing like there is on, for example, my ultra wide OLED or other sort of QD OLEDs you can get, or WOLEDs, which are used in the more gaming oriented OLED monitors. With the 42-inch LG OLED there's no issues whatsoever with pixel fringing. However, there is one issue, and that is with the screen dimming over time. For example, if you're on a static Word document or you're on a static white background, before you know it the screen will dim over time. That's mainly just because OLED panels get really hot when they're trying to pump out a lot of light, and in order for the TV to prevent burning and just ruining the panel in general, if you're just on a static screen, it presumes you're not really using it that actively, and it will dim the screen slightly to keep the panel healthy and not burning and things like that most people are worried about. There is a way around this, but it will entirely just void your warranty, so I don't recommend it. It's not that big of a deal, and when you're playing games and you're watching films on this is not a problem whatsoever. The screen doesn't dim because it's always just refreshing anyway, so it's not a problem whatsoever. But on the whole, I've been so impressed with this TV. It's genuinely one of my favourite purchases I've made over the past couple of years, just because it's such a good quality screen and it's great for gaming. It's just a great all-rounder, and it fits nicely on my desk. Even though it's a massive screen, even having it on its built-in stand, it fits on the desk nicely. It's not a pain to use, and other than the slight issue with the dimming of the screen after a while, and maybe for example like the lack of USB-C support, for example, to plug into a laptop, which no one really needs to use, but it would be nice to see more monitor features. However, it is just a TV at the end of the day at a smaller size that you're using on your desk. So yeah, you're not really getting any sort of monitor features that you would get from a smaller dedicated desk monitor. But on the whole, if you're looking for an OLED monitor or you just want a smaller OLED TV, you cannot go wrong with this whatsoever. But that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for me, and I will see you later. Goodbye.